So you all are telling me that Christian couples go to counseling?
Yes.
Christian couples deal with mental health issues.
Yes.
Christian couples sometimes are not connected. That's what y'all are telling me.
That's what we're telling you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Regina Hassan, your host for Pregnant with Purpose, and we are in our second season. Very excited. And this season, our theme is Living Out Your Purpose, Helping Others. And this particular show, I've titled it Marriage and Ministry. We're going to have an interesting discussion with two married couples that I find them to be outstanding people. I do. So if you allow me, I would like to introduce to you Pastors Cornelius and Yolanda Carroll, as well as Gerald and Brittnee Linnear. Welcome, y'all.
Hello. Hi there. Hi. Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Let me just take a moment to tell you about these two couples, all right? So y'all give me a minute, all right? So y'all just stand there and blush and smile as I right, exactly. Okay, but I'm going to start with Pastors Cornelius and Yolanda Carroll. Both of them born and raised in Houston. Yay! H-Town. Native Houstonians. They are high school sweethearts who have been married for, get this, y'all, 43 years. I said 4-3.
Right.
43. Cornelius and Yolanda worked in corporate America in engineering and banking for over 30 years before they're committed to full-time ministry. In 2002, they founded Abundant Love Christian Center in the Clear Lake area of Houston. They have been working diligently to build the kingdom with those the Lord has entrusted to them. The Carrolls are ordained pastors, conference hosts, mentors, life coaches, and much more. Yolanda is a certified Christian counselor who completed her doctorate in theology in 2020. Congratulations, Dr. Carroll. And she counsels women and couples weekly. Cornelius recently released his first book. Cornelius, I'm gonna need the name of the book. I don't know why it's included.
It's called The Ball. It's called The Ball, and we can tell. I can tell you a little bit more about it when you tell me.
Okay, great. And you are planning to begin writing your next one in the coming months. Good for you.
Yes.
They are the proud parents of 2 adult daughters and their husbands, 1 adult son, and 5 grandchildren. In their spare time, and I don't see where they have any, but in their spare time, they enjoy eating out, sitting on the patio, attending concerts, and tending to their plants. I don't know if y'all agree with me, Pastor Carroll, but I always make this statement: there is no retirement plan in God's kingdom.
Yes.
It
Absolutely.
is not.
Agreed.
Okay, then we have Brittnee and Gerald. Y'all wave to the folks, right?
Hey,
right. Gerald and Brittnee Linnear have been married for 12 years, but they have been together for 18 years. They have 2 beautiful children together, and they've started upon a new journey of being business partners. That's interesting. They currently own and operate a marketing and production company, all while Gerald still serves as an electrical estimator.
Yes.
Okay, as an electrical estimator and a professor at HCC. I didn't know that, Gerald.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, Gerald. Yes, and Brittnee serves as a Christian counselor and consultant to ministries and churches. Boy, isn't this something how y'all hooked up? You know, I got it. In their free time, they are movie connoisseurs, gamers, and embark on new adventures. Y'all got little children. Y'all try to act like y'all got some free time. y'all go see those children movies. That's where y'all going.
Right.
We get, we still a night every now and then.
Good for y'all. From high school sweethearts to they unsure of how they would describe themselves now. But I would say a power couple on the move. That's and she wrote a little note for me in this, and I almost read it, Brittnee, but okay. So welcome, Gerald and Brittnee Linnear, as well as pastors Cornelius and Yolanda Carroll. How y'all
Thank you.
Hey.
I'm really excited about this show. Okay, I am. My husband, who's deceased, my husband passed away in 2014. He used to say to me, girl, you just like the idea of being married, you know. I used to get so offended by that, you know. And then I started thinking about that. I've been thinking about that lately. And, you know, that's kind of true because I don't ever remember pretending as a little girl saying, when I grow up, I want to be a widow. That never was in my plan. You know, it was always I was going to be married, you know, somehow, you know. It was going to be, I was going to be married and I was going to be married and then this, or I was going to be married. So maybe I was in love with the idea of marriage. Okay. So I want to start out, you know, we don't have much time, but I want to start out just going to each one of you individually and asking this question. You're not going to be ready for this, but
Okay.
how did you know?
Okay.
How did you know that the person that's your life partner right now, how did you know that they were the one?
I don't mind starting. We were high school sweethearts. We started dating in the 11th grade. And
At Jack Yates High School. And we went to, so when we graduated, she went to TSU and I went to Prairie View. So we're 50 miles apart, but we kept dating. And so I got a job in Houston so that I could come home on the weekends to be, you know, close to her. There was some school opportunities that I had that were much further away, but I didn't choose them because I wanted to be close to her. And then there became a time like after my second year in college, I just knew, you know, and I knew what kind of girl I was looking for. I knew the qualities I was looking for, and she fit the bill. And I was like, okay, enough of this looking around. I mean, I know. And so I will tell this quick story that when I proposed to her, the 4th year of our dating, she was like shocked. She wasn't like, she wasn't expecting that. Wow. And I had already talked to my parents. I already made plans to buy a ring, you know, and then we got married the following year. But I went from where I didn't know to it was clear that she was the one and that anything else was just really, you know, just entertainment on the side. And it's like, okay, enough of that. Let me just zero in on my life purpose. I'm kind of like that. I mean, I'd like to zero in on what I'm supposed to be doing. So.
That's great. I love that. I love it. So you knew, you know, at first you went from you didn't know to for certain, for sure. I like that. I like that. Yeah. Brittnee.
Brittnee.
I'm sorry. Let me call on Brittnee. I'm mixing it up here. Brittnee, what about you?
Okay, so I'm a very type A type person. Like things have to go in order, and I'm very like I'm gonna get what I want. So I met him. And it was just something about him that I couldn't let go. And we were 16 at the time, so you don't know what it is. You just know, hey, there's something about you. And so I was like, hey, I like you. Come over here and talk to me. And and that it was, I tell him all the time, like I said, I love you first. I pursued him. It was just something, and I tell him all the time, it wasn't anybody but God, because I was a child and I didn't know. But I knew, like, hey, you. I don't know what it is, but it's you. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's you, and that was it for me.
Girl, go ahead on. Go ahead on. Okay, Pastor Yolanda Carroll. Carroll, okay. Yolanda, your turn.
Mine is a little bit different because I don't know when I knew. I don't know when I knew. To be real honest. I was, my husband is just a gentle giant, engineer, methodical and stuff. And then I'm much more gregarious, a risk taker, and all of this kind of stuff. And so, you know, I was the teacher, he was the
student class president. He was the, star football player. He was the, all of these great accolades. And I, sat back of the class just checking out everything to be sure everything was going all right out in the hall and all this different stuff. So he approached me, and I thought, and when I originally met him, I thought, he's kind of nerdy. He's kind of, he wears this strange little hat, and I'm just not sure. So we were well into our relationship. Now everybody else knew, like my mom said, take some pictures at this holiday and take some pictures at this holiday so we can have all of that when y'all get married. And I'm just like, I don't know, Ma. I don't know. But people were telling me, and I think I have to go along with Brittnee. It was God. When God sent him to me and kept me level-headed and kept me in a place that he would want to marry me. But I don't really know until when he asked me to marry him, I really started to really think about, okay, God, you sent him to me, but am I the marrying kind? I always question, am I the marrying kind? Am I what he deserves and all of that? So my story is very, 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 very different. So I really don't know until he asked me to marry him. And I really started to focus on, can I be what he needs for a wife, his forever wife? Then it became.
Right.
That's good.
Right.
That's good.
Let me just add that we've never quit since we started dating. She was 16, I was 17. We have never quit, even when we were separated in college. And so I think that God kept his hand on us and kept us together. So.
Wow.
Well, I have a different story for that, because I say he did write me a letter and say, let's
be friends.
Let's date some other people. Let's be sure. But he says explore. He said it didn't happen. I say it did happen. But
right.
That was a long time ago.
On paper.
Right. He's chosen to eliminate that from his memory brain. I don't blame you, Cornelius. I don't blame you. Gerald, tell me, how did you know about Brittnee?
So,
make me look good.
I'm a pretty methodical person as well. Like I don't really like to go off of feelings or emotions. I really like to go off of like fact and what's actually happening. So, we met 16 years old. We were on a trip to Grambling, and my buddy, he went to school with her. We went to two different schools. We went to twin schools. I went to the better twin though. Went to Madison. So
okay.
Fired.
Anyway,
we can get into that later. But my friend was sitting with her, and I went to the restroom. When I came back, he was like, "Hey, Gerald, come over here." And he was sitting with her. He had his arm around her. She kept shrugging his arm off, but he usually like to show off and show what girl he talking to. So I'm like, "Oh, it's his girl or whatever." But she was still like looking at me, like giving me the eye. I'm like, okay, I see the vibes, but I don't want to mess with my man got going on. But I went on. We talked a little bit right then, but then later on the next day, so that was Sunday.
It's 2 days.
2 days, yeah. He called me with her on three-way. He was like, "Hey, remember that girl from the trip? She want to talk to you." I was like, "What?" I'm like, all right. And so we were talking because she was trying to figure out where we knew each other from. We actually went to the same middle school.
We went to middle school together also.
Didn't know
each other.
Well, I'll tell you back. I knew about her because I was in a play. I was a backstage hand, but she was actually in the play. So I never met her. We didn't take the same classes or nothing like that. But whenever I got in the car with my parents and my sister after the play, they was like, my family, we like to joke a lot. They was like, "Man, who is this person in here named Brittney Spears? She's a fake Britney Spears," and just making jokes about her name compared to the artist. And so whenever I finally met her later on, I told her the story, and it was just amazing for these events to line up like that. And then that night when we talked on the phone, we stayed on the phone for about, I think it was 4 hours.
No, it was 8 hours.
8 hours. Wow. Knowing we had to go to school the next morning.
Right.
And it just, I had never had a conversation like that with another female where I felt so open to communicate with them, and then them coming back with the same type of response, not like acting like they was different. Like she was really giving me real responses, not just trying to bait and switch me like a lot of people.
And she still does that today.
Sometimes she bait and switch me now. For some reason. But
I'm not bait and switching you on parenting.
Okay, I love it. So I see like some couples who are in their God-given ministry. They're doing their ministry work, and they have a tendency, and y'all can tell me if y'all agree or not agree, but they have a tendency to put other ministries before their marriage. And my belief is your marriage is your first ministry above all.
Mm-hmm.
How do you all keep your marriage as your first ministry?
Let me jump in right there. I have to be honest. I'm a little, for lack of a better word, I have a little bit of a tenderness, or not jealousy, but jealousy, because I have to share my husband with ministry,
Right.
with other people, with other opportunities and those types of things. So
Real talk, Yolanda. I like that.
So I mean, and he has to work really hard to appease me, for lack of a better word, because I do from time to time make it obvious that, okay, does everything have to be church? Does everything have to be ministry? Does everything? And so my husband is he works really hard being intentional about, okay, let's have a date night. Let's take a trip. What do you want to eat? Even right now, he's doing a couple of little projects that takes him away from home. Ever since pandemic, we've been home together, working from home together. So for the last three years, we've been here together almost every day, working, he in his office, I'm in mine, or I'm in the room, or whatever. And so now he's doing a project that requires that he's gone 3 or 4 days a week, all day during the business hours. But he even makes it, he's intentional about breaking up his day such that he can come home for lunch just to, spend time with me, see what I'm doing, bring me some lunch, and those types of things. So he is very intentional. And I think that's going to be the key word. You have to be intentional about it, or things will get in the way. Ministry will get in the way. The things that go along with that, seeing people, making phone calls. We're a small growing church, and so we are very, very, very hands-on. So he still is a pastor that goes to see people, goes to the hospital to see people. I mean, I'm still the pastor that we call our new members and welcome them to the church and tell them about our history, how we started and who our covering is and those types of things. So for us, it has to be very, very intentional, or I'll become a little unhappy camper.
Unhappy wife, unhappy life.
So I want to add to that.
Intentional.
I want to add to that. I can completely identify with that. Like, I don't want to say I'm jealous. Well, I guess jealous would be the word, but my jealous comes out. I'll be angry. Like, and in the season, this, like Gerald, something I forgot to put in the bio. Gerald works at the church doing the video, audio, all the like.
I thought he did something at the church. I did.
Yes.
I thought he did.
So all of the streaming, even in the pandemic, he was editing videos so we could have praise and worship, editing sermons. Like, he was, without Gerald, church did not happen on Sunday. So you're talking about a lot of hours during the week, because you got to go record multiple people, then you got to put it all together, then you got to compare. It was just so much. And I was going through a church hurt season. So in the midst of that, I was like, hey, how much money do I have to make for you to quit?
Wow.
And he was like, well, if we do this, then I guess I'll quit. And I was like, okay, cool. So I did it, and he didn't quit. Oh, I was mad. I was so mad. But I think it's been about a month for me where I'm like, okay, God, I need healing. I got to go through these transformations. Like, how do I get there? And he explained to me that he felt as though this was his part in the kingdom. Like, if I don't do this, then people don't get the message. And he's explained it before, but it hit differently this time. Maybe because I was granted healing, or maybe just because I wanted to understand more. But he was like, without me, they don't get these things, or nobody's thinking about this. So that's why I do it, and da 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 da. So I took it off the board. Like, I'm not working to take you away from church anymore. But being like, hey, I'm here and I need attention. That's literally where I am. Like, hey, come sit on my shoulder because I need attention. So that's where I am right now. But I can completely identify with the jealousy thing.
Oh, I love it, man. I love I love the real talk. I really do. Oh, I'm very understanding of what he's doing to feel God's. Your marriage should be your first ministry. And I love the word, the key word, the theme right here, what you said, the key word, Yolanda, intentional. It's not accidental. Right. One of the things, the favorite part of any fairy tale that I used to love to listen to, they lived happily. Hey, and the real is, no, they did not live happily ever after. They lived, but maybe not happily every day. So I really appreciate you all's real talk.
Regina, I'd like
another thing I wanted to talk to you about.
Regina, can I just add one thing?
Oh, I'm sorry, Cornelius. Yes. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No. So Yolanda and I, and we've kind of, we've got some age in this thing, but we were, like the Linnear couple, the Linnear family. We've been together so long that we were teenagers. We got married. We had our first jobs. Then we had bought a house, then we got children. So it was kind of like, we're going along, we add something to the plate, add something to the plate, add something, and add something to the plate. Well, our daughters are 35 and 40. Our son is 22. And so they're kind of out doing their own thing. We've both retired from corporate America, so that's off the plate. We are in the house that we're going to most likely live in for the rest of our life. So we're not, so as we're taking things off the plate, it comes back down to me and Yolanda. And so a lot of couples, they go through relationships. And then when the children leave, when the corporate America leaves, when you have to be at the house with each other, like we've been over the pandemic, it's like, who is that person? Oh, I didn't know you act like that. Or I didn't know it was going to be like that.
Who are you?
Always try to remember that we were first, and then we added children. We added kids.
You built upon the foundation, which was you as a couple.
The foundation is our relationship.
You as a couple in God, y'all built up on that. That's good, because I heard a pastor say on TV not too long ago. He's doing a series called "Don't Burn." And he's talking to married folks and singles, right? But one of the things that he said, and this hit me so hard, he was saying that a lot of marriages don't work out, and a lot of single people haven't found their soulmate because they're looking so much for what they can get out of it rather than what they can bring to it. And that just hit me so hard, because when I'm saying, God, if you send me another mate, I just want somebody that can pump my gas. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being real right now. And then when he said that, it hit me so hard to say, well, maybe that's why, instead of saying I'm looking for someone that I can pour into, someone that I can support, someone that I can love, it's been, very selfish about me. So when he's, like I said, when he said that, that hit me so hard. And that's what I hear from y'all, is that, both of you all, even you said it, Yolanda, about, is this somebody that I can be a wife to, that I, and I mean, I think it's just so wonderful. I think you all really set a great example about marriage for today, both couples. Awesome. I want y'all to recall from me, and I want to hear from the men this time. Okay. And you may have already talked about it. The women sure did express it, but how can I put it differently so it doesn't sound? Can you name for me one challenging time in your marriage? I mean, a time where you were maybe wondering, or did I do the right thing, or did we do the right thing, or was there ever a time, number one, like that? And if it was, would you mind sharing that with us?
I can start. So maybe about a year ago, Brittnee had asked to do like a medication deal, which was I grew up in a family where everybody's been married for umpteen years, and just recently a couple of my aunts are getting divorced. But like my parents, what?
Can I define medication?
Go ahead. You can do it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You can go ahead.
I'm
Give
sorry.
your words.
Medication was me taking time for myself. That means no contact, no work, no nothing with anyone.
Okay.
So life had just become so overwhelming, and I'm used to being by myself and a loner. I was like, hey, I just need a couple days.
For
Just
medication.
don't bother me at all.
Okay. All right, Gerald, pick it up from there.
So in that, she wanted to go. She went to an Airbnb. And
By
she was
herself.
Like, by herself. She was like, I'm gonna go explore the city by myself. I don't want to have any contact with you. But also, before she left, was like, hey, if you want to come over here one night because we're married, and I'm like, how? That made me feel like a like, how you gonna have your time by yourself and then you invite me for one night and then I got to go back home? Like, nah, I don't like the way that feels.
The Bible talks, you can agree to separate, but don't do it for too long now. You know, don't do it for too long now. Okay.
Exactly. But it was so growing up, I never seen where my parents was like, I'm gonna leave. I need time by myself, and I don't want to talk to you at all.
We didn't grow up in that kind of. At least I didn't grow up in that kind of generation either. You know,
right?
I'm a baby boomer, so
yeah. My mom would. She used to be a flight attendant, and then whenever she was working at, I think for one of the hospitals or for MHMRA, she would travel for business. But when she travels out of town, she still would call. She'd check in. So it wasn't like no communication whatsoever. Right. And so whenever she explained it to me, I was like, I really don't understand it. I don't get it, but I understand you need it. And so I was like, let's go ahead and do it.
Did you make it through, Gerald? Did you make it through?
And that was where
Did you do it, Gerald? Did you make it?
When we got back together, because she was like, she texted me one day while she was gone.
The day it ended.
The day before she was coming back, she was like, hey, meet me at a restaurant. And I'm like so confused. I'm like, I haven't talked to you for days. Now all of a sudden you like just show up somewhere. Like, what do I need to do something with the children? I was confused. Like, what happened? And so, and trying not to communicate, I'm like trying to give her short answers and stuff. But like when we got back together, it was like I wanted to understand her. I felt like she needed that so that she could find herself again, not necessarily for her peace as well. But I felt like this was going to be like a revelation thing as well. But still, it was still kind of hurting to hear that my wife needed to get away from me.
Right.
Yeah. Usually when I want to get away, I want her right by my side
all the time. Yeah.
So it was. We went,
which is really like a role reversal, because it's usually the wife that's saying, "I need you with me all the time," and the man who's saying, "I need my space." Right. I know that I just made a very biased statement, but
that's
right. But it's usually the wife that says, "Cling to me." What do you mean you don't want to be? What? Right. So I can relate to how you felt, Gerald. That's what I wanted to say.
We'd like to interrupt your podcast experience to let you know that this could be where your ad is right here. Here. The CCN network is actually looking for advertisement right now. So if you want to advertise on any of the shows that are on the CCN network, please let us know.
Call me.
Text me.
Just hit us up.
Send a pigeon.
If you want, you can just walk over here and tell us.
But you can advertise here, CCN network.
That's it.
Word. My name is Stephen Thompson from Stevie Rock Radio, and you are now watching the CCN.
Okay, Cornelius, tell us.
So we've gone, we're real life people, and we've had some stressful moments in our relationship, external stresses upon our family as a result of some things that happen with our children, with our parents, and those kind of things. And my wife had to be hospitalized one time unexpectedly, and when she was there.
Let me say what kind of hospital. Regina will probably know. It was West Oaks Hospital.
I sure do know. Yes.
Okay.
So it was so when we checked her in, then I discovered that I couldn't check her out. That she actually had to go through this process, and I could not have free access to her while she was being evaluated. I could not, spend the night, at the hospital with her.
Right.
And that was, to me, that was one of the most emotional times for me of our marriage. I remember that we went to the hospital here in the area. They decided to take her by ambulance to the other hospital because they didn't want to release her back to me. And I'm like, this is my wife. I mean, and then no, she's with us now.
Mhm.
And so I can remember following this ambulance across town, just big tears in my eyes, and just like, Lord, please, this is my wife. What's going on? So to me, that was one of the most difficult times. And again, I couldn't just say, okay, she's feeling better. Let's go to the house.
Right,
They said,
exactly.
Nope, she's with us. We get to tell you when she gets to come home. And that was definitely one of the most difficult, because I take very seriously my role of covering my wife and caring for her. And I can't, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but
Right.
I could not believe that they didn't. And I get it. And I even got it then, but still to release her over to these medical professionals who were doing what they do.
Right.
That was very, very difficult.
That was very, very hard.
Yes.
And a lot of times, a lot of people are not successful or do not have a positive outcome in
Right.
treatment facilities because of that reason. Because a lot of families will say, "Oh, they fine now. No, we're taking them home. We're taking them home."
Right.
If for no other reason, usually it's for fear that something is going to be disclosed
Right.
during the treatment process that the family wants to keep such a tight secret about.
Right.
So a lot of times people are snatched. I just call it snatched out of. And even kids, are snatched out of treatment because of the fact that there's something the family wants to hold on to, and they don't want anyone else to be close to it. So I really admire you for trusting God in that process, because that's what's really important, man. That you have to trust God.
And
with certain things with your mate, you just have to put your trust in God.
And we have to, for clarity for the viewers of the broadcast, West Oaks Hospital is a psychiatric hospital.
My husband used to work there.
Okay, all right. So
Wow.
and so I made some very poor choices that ended up being documented as a suicide attempt, and the suicide attempt landed me in West Oaks Hospital for a pretty lengthy time. And again, those hospitals, I mean, you can check yourself into a hospital, but you can't check yourself out. There are doctors, there are people who don't know you, who don't know your history, who don't. And so one of the things, I mean, again, that was very difficult, a very difficult time in our marriage, because I didn't know what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be, a whole lot of things. And his thing was, what about me that I couldn't protect her? What about me that I couldn't, keep her safe? What about me that I didn't know something was wrong?
Right. How could I not see it?
How could I not see it? So,
and let me just add, it was a wake-up call, not only for Yolanda, but for me, because, when we talk about mental health, many times, especially in the Black family, we don't really call it what it is, or we always ignore it and say, oh, they're just having a bad day. But it was a wake-up call for me that it was, look, you have to be mindful, and I have to, I'm in the relationship, I'm the one that's a little bit more
low key and things, but around my wife's mental health, I have to step up to the plate and be aggressive and maybe say some things that, you know, she's not used to me saying, or set up some appointments that she doesn't agree with.
Right.
But that has challenged, you know, from time to time, and it has shown up a few times in our relationship. But you know, I mean, God has got us through it, and it has caused me to evaluate the way I love her, which, you know, hopefully we can talk about in a minute. But
Can I piggyback?
I love that. I absolutely love that. I really appreciate your honesty and your openness. I appreciate that from all of y'all. Man, this show has went to the next level. It was like, it's happening right here. I'm watching it, you know, it's happening. And I really appreciate, because, you know, we don't talk about mental health. And we don't discuss that, you know, in families. You're right, in the Black families. But anyway, what I need to say is that I'm glad that you all are so open about it, and you all are so honest about what you're going through, or what has happened in your marriage.
Can I piggyback off that?
Huh?
Can I piggyback off that before we?
Sure, you're the timekeeper, so don't be coming back to me later on saying, you know, you went over time, you know, or don't be all of a sudden.
No, ma'am. You know. So I just wanted to say that, because I was listening to Pastor Cornelius and Pastor Yolanda, and I'm thinking about the things that we went through, and we're talking about.
Excuse me, Brittnee. I have someone pounding at my door.
Here,
just for 1 minute, okay?
Okay.
I can hear you. Go on, please.
Okay, so what I heard in that moment was isolation, because I was like, hey, I need the isolation. And then they required you to be isolated. And so I feel like sometimes in a season when we're going through things, I'm a very push forward, keep going type person. Like, I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna make it happen no matter what. And it got to the point where I could not feel any longer. I could not heal any further. I could not help anymore. And to know that, like, there's somebody that's out there that I can identify, hey, this happened and I had to go get help. We went to therapy after the medication because we were not okay. And he kept saying, I'm okay. I'm like, no, you're not. I can feel this. I can feel the disconnect. I could feel the distraction. And there's something here that we had to figure out.
The day we got back together at the restaurant, and I said, I cannot express this in words any further. I've expressed as much as I could. I said, let's just talk to the therapist.
No, that's not it, Gerald, that I'm referring to. What I'm referring to was when the words came out of your mouth, I'm sitting next to you, but I feel like I don't know you anymore. That's the disconnection. So that's where I was like, okay, this isolation in my medication, I got so much revelation from God. I got all these things, and I was like, oh, I did this for me. But then I had to come back and reconnect, and it just wasn't there. I was like, oh God. So I just want to say we went to therapy. The isolation sometimes is necessary, but the reconnection is definitely mandatory. And I don't want people to take that lightly and skip over it, because we have a new way to communicate with each other now. I see him actively trying to protect me, actively saying, hey, I will do this for you if that's necessary. And saying, if you don't want to, you don't have to, because it used to be mandatory. Now it's, if you don't want to, you don't have to. So I'm just grateful for revelations.
So you all are telling me that Christian couples go to counseling?
Yes.
Christian couples deal with mental health issues?
Yes.
Christian couples sometimes are not connected. That's what y'all are telling me.
That's what we're telling you.
Yes.
I would like to say that these Christian couples are doing it.
Right.
And we encourage that other Christian couples do it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I strongly recommend that. You know, being someone who was, you know, a counselor, being married to a counselor. My husband was a drug abuse counselor. I am a drug abuse counselor. We're counselors together. Let me tell you something. That's a crazy mix right there, you know, because, you know, a lot of our arguments were, don't you counsel me? You know?
Right.
You know, so, you know, having a third party you know, being a part of and being able to look at us, you know, was very important. We didn't go to therapy. I can't say we went to therapy, but we did seek outside help, like, you know, sitting down with our pastor and talking at, you know, at one point, because it was just, you know, the communication was just really bad, you know, because it always seems like this, the thing that people love you for is the same problem that they have with you later on. You know, my husband loved the idea that I was a strong, independent Black woman. He loved that idea, but later on it became challenging in our marriage.
What we call that is when we counsel couples, there's a thing that we talk about to couples about. It's called what makes you valuable makes you vulnerable.
Right.
What makes you valuable makes you vulnerable. So the same thing that, you know, my gregarious, strong personality, outgoing and stuff, all of that is good and fine when it's on, you know, 6, 7. But when I'm on 10, that can set him off because that's not attractive to him. So what makes you valuable?
Right.
Also
Exactly.
Vulnerable.
Wow.
Okay, so I got one more question, Brittnee. I'm sorry. You know, I'm sorry.
You're
So
okay.
maybe we should have did this in 2-parter. I'm sorry, Brittnee. I got
It's okay.
All right, good. That's what I wanted to hear you say. All right, married couples. And this has been such a great show. But what piece of advice would you give to an engaged couple or a newly married couple going into this marriage and ministry? What advice would you give them? What is the best advice maybe you received, or the best advice that you could pass on? And I'm going to start with the Linnears first, and then we're going to close it out with the Carrolls.
I can start it. So one of the key components to how we've been together for so long, and how I believe we've been mostly happy with everything that's going on in our marriage, is communication. I feel like communication is key to any successful relationship, whether it's business or marriage. And I've seen that a lot of people either don't communicate properly, or they're not listening whenever they go into marriage. And another thing that I see is a lot of times we're not open and honest about who we actually are and what we actually want whenever we go into this thing called marriage. Because some people think, I'm just going to do this right now just to make her happy, and then, you know, at some point she's going to be okay, or I'm just going to suck it up. I actually have a friend that said that men's supposed to suffer in silence. And I'm like, why? Like that's totally not acceptable, sir.
Right.
So communication and being open and honest with your partner is very key to having a successful relationship, and also to being happy. Because if you're not honest with your spouse about who or what you want, they'll never know that you are unhappy with stuff that they've been doing for years and years and years, until one day you explode, and then it's like, where did that come from?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Gerald, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Pastor.
No, I'll wait.
Okay.
I was just going to say that Gerald would say what Gerald said. I just want to say that we also need to understand that we communicate differently. We have different needs out of our communication. And one of the things that we kind of say is that often men will communicate for information, women will communicate to connect. And so as a man, I need to make sure that when I communicate with my wife, that I'm allowing or enhancing the connection. So I'm sorry, I just wanted to.
That's good. That's good. Thank you.
So,
Brittnee.
So I want to offer that there should be a balance with women. They say that women are unstable creatures. Don't believe that. But I feel like there should be a balance in the way we operate with feelings and thinking. So because most men are not feelings based. My husband does not operate in feelings at all. I'd be like, hey, I need you to feel right now. So I have to operate.
I have to tap into the feeling.
Yes, I have to offer my feeling with reasoning. And he
Mm-hmm.
had to teach me to do that because I was not taught to do that. I knew that I didn't operate in feelings or active feelings. Like, I'm not sad. I'm not hurt. Like, you know how I'm an independent woman. I got this. Don't worry about it. I'm going to take care of me. I'm going to hold me down. Well,
Right.
that's what I was taught. Yeah, all of that. But when he asked me, well, why did you do that? I don't know. I just felt like it. Well, that doesn't make sense to me. So everything I do got to have a reason? Yes. Oh, wait a minute. So it's have a balance between my feelings and my thinking. Because if I feel this way, I need to be able to tell you why I feel this way so we can get to the meat of it and then communicate properly so that we can solve the problem and move forward in the best way. So
Right.
just the balance of thinking and feeling.
And guys give grace, women give grace because we come from two different families, two different
Right.
backgrounds. The way
Right.
you communicated with your family before is not the way she communicates, and vice versa.
Exactly.
Been there a few times.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
Gerald
ma'am.
and Brittnee. Thank you. Okay, now Cornelius and Yolanda.
Okay, I'll jump in right there. I think Gerald and Brittnee kind of they did piggyback on some really identify some really good tools. And one of the things I think I would say is we want to treat our mate like we treat our friends. We want to give our mate the same kind of grace we give our friends. For example, my best friend, if my best friend forgets my birthday or forgets to call before, a certain time on my birthday.
That's all right.
Girl, that's okay.
But if your man forget.
But if and our best friend, we like, okay, well, we're gonna go to dinner tomorrow then, and we're gonna and we back on it and everything. But if our man forgets, then we're getting a divorce. How do you get my birthday?
Exactly. We definitely not sleeping together tonight.
Yeah, tonight is not your night. So we want to be sure and extend the same kind of grace that we extend to our friends, or those that extend that same kind of grace to our mate. And then I think one of the things too that Gerald said early on is the communication and conflict resolution piece. We've got to work hard on that because every couple at some point is going to have some challenges in that area. Communication and conflict resolution, the intimacy piece, not just intimacy physical, but intimacy. You see me, I see you. The finance piece, not necessarily how much, who makes the most, but how do you feel about money? What do you do with money? What you gonna do? Where we're gonna be, 2 months from now, and the trust piece, and not just infidelity, the infidelity and all that stuff, but can I trust you with my heart? Can I trust you with my dreams? Can I trust you with those I love? Those types of things. So I would say to couples to please, treat each other, extend grace. And then please, be okay with that at some point, SIFT, communication and conflict resolution, intimacy, finances, and trust. That'll be a piece that may need tweaking, that may need some refreshing, that may need some attention.
Awesome. And I would like to just add one piece. And I would tell young couples, don't underestimate the power of agape love. And I know that people say, oh, that's a church thing. No, the agape love is the love that keeps us when we old, that keeps us when we're not as, our bodies maybe don't look like they used to.
Breaking down. I know.
Agape love is what enables us to. So the three elements to me, the elements of that are love is unconditional, love is sacrificial, and love is serving our mate. And so if I'm not serving Yolanda, then I'm leaving something on the table because I need to serve her. And where do I get that from? Then the love that the Lord had for us included those elements. And I think that because a lot of times we think that love is more the LOVE instead of LUST, then that might be great for a while, but after a while, some things might change. Health might change, weight might change, finances might, all of that. So we need to be able to love unconditionally. We need to, in other words, we stop saying, well, I love you because you're beautiful. Well, she is beautiful, but that's not why I love her. I love her because I choose to. I love her because I believe she's a gift to me from God. And so, and I love her because I show my love by serving her and making sure that she has what she needs. So I just want to throw that out there. Couples, I hope, will embrace that, because when we can't, then we need God's help on our relationship. I can ask him to give me what he gave me when he gave me Jesus. So I'm just saying.
That's wonderful. That's a great place to end. I really appreciate you all being here this morning for this segment. God is so great. God is so good that, you know, y'all were the couples that he gave to me to do this. And I'm really happy that I had this opportunity to do this interview. I'm almost in tears. I'm trying to really choke back the tears about it, but I really connected with with Cornelius, what he said, because I remember me telling my husband, "Oh, don't let our relationship, or don't let me interfere with your relationship with God." And my husband just basically looked me straight in the eye and said, "Don't get it twisted." Okay. And he told me, he said, "I am with you," because he said, "because I can cook, clean, sew a button on, iron." He said, "I can do all that." He said, "I don't want to be with you because I need you.
Right.
I want to be with you because I want to be."
Yes.
And that was the most romantic thing I had ever heard from a man. And I was like, but when he looked at me, he was like, look, girl, don't get it twisted. Like, you ain't all that. You know, you got some bits and pieces about you, okay, that I see, but I still want to be with you. You know, you're not the greatest cook in the world. You know, I'm, cleaning up. I'm not one of those women that said, "Oh, I can't wait to wake up and clean up my house." He knew all of that, but he said, "I chose to be with you because I want to. Not because I need you, but I want to." So I'm very happy. So there's a segment that we do. Once again, thank my guests. Gerald and Brittnee, along with Cornelius, thank y'all. But there's a segment that we do called "You Know You Old," right? So it came to me right now. You know, y'all, somebody was banging on my door. They just would not stop knocking on my door. So I'm like, I put y'all on hold. I muted myself. I go to the door. I'm like, "Who is it?" When I open up the door, and it's a guy standing, and he's pointing, and I'm thinking, what are you pointing at? You know what he was pointing at? He was pointing at my keys was still in the lock.
Oh my gosh.
From last night.
Oh no.
Oh no. Gosh.
So you know you old
when you leave your
slept through the whole night. You know you old, and you know you got God in your life.
Yes.
In the door, that I am so grateful. And the crazy thing is, when I got ready to leave, I'd have been looking frantically for my
kids.
So
you had another you know you old moment.
And you also know you old when you still got AOL, huh?
Right.
I've had people actually look at me and say, and I say, my email is da at AOL. AOL what? Okay, so it's been a great show. This show may be divided into two parts because of the fact that we did go over. I'm okay with that because it is a great show. If Gerald does cut it down to 30 minutes, I don't know how he's going to do it. I don't know how they're going to do it because everything has been wonderful. And I just feel like there's somebody out there is going to benefit from what y'all brought to the show today. So, I mean, I love y'all. I love y'all like a fat kid loves cake. I love y'all. And I want to thank everyone for watching. Tune in for our next show, which will be about entrepreneurship. And we'll have Mr. Ralph Hawkins on, as well as Miss Jasmine Jones, the CEO and founder of the CCN Network. So as always, I love y'all, and don't forget, you know my motto: if you're not dead, God's not done. Bye.
So you just got done watching Pregnant with Purpose, but that's not all we have. We also have Yes to Real Estate, and we also have Class in Session. Make sure you like, subscribe, listen to all of them. If you like it, like it. If you don't, it's too bad. You watched it already. So we good.